welcome to the Silicon Slopes Live. Happy Halloween, and hope you guys are all enjoying the candy and the trick-or-treating, or whatever is going to happen in 2020. We are joined by the 97th floor CEO, Paxton Gray. How are you?
I'm great.
How's your Halloween?
Good, interesting. Lots of good variations on normal Halloween.
Yes, lots of variations. All right, so we are neighbors in this office building, have been for a while. What does 97th floor do? And you were recently named the CEO, right?
Yeah, June 1st.
Interesting time to be a CEO.
It's been a wild ride.
So yeah, give the folks listening at home a primer of what 97th floor does.
Yeah, so 97th floor is a digital marketing agency. We've been around for 15 years. And what we do is integrated marketing in the digital space. So we've got a bunch of SEO experts, content marketers, paid specialists, designers, and conversion rate optimization specialists who all work together to build campaigns that are ultimately designed to bring results. So our contracts are almost always based off of results. You know, what do you want to achieve? Ideally, we get as close to the bottom line as possible. And then we get to kind of pull all those different levers to produce campaigns that get those results. And I think the real magic of 97th floor is we really don't have any silos. So every team has a book of business, and on that team there are experts in each of those fields. And so they all come from different backgrounds and disciplines, and they all get to bring input into building those campaigns. And so that allows us to take advantage of the unique ways that those different disciplines overlap to produce results for clients.
Yeah, and for the layman and the ones that aren't versed in all of this, it gets a little bit confusing on the acronyms and what's in vogue and what's not. But your guys' website does a really good job of explaining what you do and how you do it.
And just basically to like real base level, you know, there's organic marketing, so you're not paying for that. It's just driving kind of organic attention over time. There's the paid advertising, and then so those are two ways to kind of get eyeballs. And then once they're on your site, then you're dealing with the content and conversion rate optimization, or how we increase the likelihood that that traffic will end up converting into business.
Yeah, very cool. So a lot's changed, obviously, with the ability to track data and actually kind of figure stuff out. We'll get into that more in a minute. But what is the customer life cycle with you guys? So somebody reaches out to you, or you reach out to them, things are good. What is the process like from that point to they're a happy customer and they're running campaigns?
Yeah, so when they come on, our first step is to take a deep dive into what they're doing, right? We like to kind of poke around into analytics. We talk with them about what their goals are, what their numbers are, what their challenges are. And then from there, we have some software that we've built that helps us kind of analyze what's going on. And we take all of that and we put it into a custom campaign that we then kind of show, here's what we think we can do for you. And then we kind of work that out. Once we come to kind of an agreement about what's going to happen, then there's a handoff between the sales team and an account director. That's the person who leads your team. We don't have account executives by design. We didn't want to have people who were just in charge of the relationship but not necessarily subject matter experts. So the people that handle the accounts are the experts, and so they can say and speak to what's going on in the account. And that said, they also have a team full of experts too who are on those calls. And so from there, we work and we build the campaigns out. We build custom reporting and track all of that, and then we kind of engage from there. And our agency is really built off of retention. We don't have a giant sales force. It's funny, we're a marketing agency. We don't invest a ton in marketing. We just invest almost all of our resources in the talent and tools to produce good work, because we've just seen time and time again that that's what causes our agency to grow. In fact, years ago, we got our big start when we did some work for Omniture, and Omniture then hired us on, and when they got acquired by Adobe kind of did a review of all of Omniture's assets and partners, and then they hired us. So we then got into Adobe, and then from there, Adobe's one of those companies where lots of people work and then go somewhere else, and they brought us with them. And that's kind of what caused us to grow in the beginning, is just those referrals and doing good work and helping our points of contact in their jobs and their goals.
Cool. So you guys will work with Fortune 100 companies as well as smaller, correct?
Yep. So it used to be that we only worked with the Fortune 100 companies, and through that work, we were able to build processes and software that allowed us to maintain a high level of quality at lower price points. And so then we created what we call our SMB division. And the SMB division is fueled by experts. So we have our VP of SEO and VP of content and CRO and advertising. And they kind of oversee the work on the SMB side and make sure that the quality is high, but that allows us to service a wider range of clients. So yeah, we do the big giant stuff, but we also do smaller. We don't do tiny companies, but I'd say like mid-range. Mm-hmm.
Gotcha. And those ones are probably more impactful to the SMBs, similar to you guys catching your break with Omniture. Obviously, Adobe and the big ones want to make money, but if they miss a little bit, it's not the end of the world for them. They've got lots of money in the bank. So you've obviously been paying attention to marketing in probably all the various forms of TV and radio and all of that growing up. I could tell the first time I met you that it was something you were very passionate about. What's your favorite thing about marketing?
Oh, yeah. I've loved marketing forever. I think it stems from my family. We're not a sports family. Like I played sports. I never watched sports except the Super Bowl. I've never missed a Super Bowl, and I remember Super Bowl 30 and sitting there with my family and watching the commercials. And my parents would laugh, and we had snacks, and it was just like such a cool memory for me. And I think those commercials, it was where I was like, I want to make those. I want to be the person that does that. And from there, that's what I've been interested in my whole career. And what I love really about marketing is doing something and seeing the impact, which I think applies in many different ways and across different disciplines. But overall, it's so cool. Like we have a client who we do some SEO work for, and we just learned that Honda is going to be now doing a giant deal with them. Just because, and then Honda told them, it's because we searched this word and you rank #1 for it, and we're going to do this giant deal with you now. And the client told us, like, that is just so cool to me to see the impact that we have. And so it makes me want to just launch stuff just to see the impact and see what happens from what we do. Like that's really satisfying.
That's sweet. Good for them. So like a good salesperson knows when they're being sold to, right? I assume a good marketer knows when they're being marketed to.
Yeah.
What's
Yeah.
your defense mechanism when you don't want to be marketed to? Maybe you shouldn't tell anyone.
When I don't want to be marketed to, oh boy. Marketers are hard to market to, really, really hard. The way to do it is value. If you can provide value and sincere, true, honest value, that's what you want to do. But I delete emails. I don't read LinkedIn messages. There's a lot. Yeah. What do? I just turn it all off when I don't want to be marketed to.
There you go. Yeah, at least you have empathy for those that are trying to sell and be service providers. So I always have to ask this with the marketing folks. I love the Geico commercials. One, they're like genuinely funny. Like you get your endorphins, a little endorphin rush. So I'm always happy when the commercials finish. But then like impeccable track record over 15, 20 years. What do you think of the Geico commercials as a marketing?
I like it a lot. There's a couple interesting thoughts on that. Like number one, the gecko has done. There's so many people who want to create a gecko for their business and have no idea how much money Geico spent making the Geico gecko a thing. Yeah. And so they're thinking, oh yeah, we'll just make a gecko. Like, oh, no, that's so hard to get mind share and create a character like that. But I love that they're just like willing to do whatever. Like it seems like they have a whiteboard in their office and say, hey, anyone, just put up your idea. Like I love that creativity and willingness to try different things. So I love that about them. One thing though, as a customer, the more you see that marketing, that's expensive. That's a lot of dollars, especially for an insurance company. I mean, how much cheaper would my insurance be if they weren't spending millions and millions? But anyway, I love it. I love it as a creative exercise.
Yeah. Do you imagine like they've got an actual like comedian that doesn't know anything about marketing in there, or do you think it's like marketing people trying to be funny? Because some of it's like way funny.
Yeah, I'm sure they have people who have that storytelling skill in those, yeah.
Well, Warren Buffett owns it, so they've got plenty of money should they ever go the other direction. All right, so that's a cool company and a cool brand, but what would be your dream customer? You know, you answer the phone and somebody says, I need your services and I work for?
Apple, I think would just be so cool. I think they'd be really hard to work with, but if you could get that out the door, like that would be big, fulfilled dream for me.
Yeah. Along those lines, what do you do when it is somebody that's hard to work with? How long do you grin and bear it?
I think the goal is to understand what they want and their unique challenges. I think the more you can do that, the less you'll run into clients that are difficult to work with. I think anytime they're difficult, it usually means that you just don't understand what's happening, and it may be they're not great at communicating it. But understanding the nuance and kind of the pressures they're under and what they're dealing with and working to take that off of their plate, that stress off, that's the remedy, I would say. That said, like if it ever reaches an abusive point, which very rare, you cut it off. Just say, hey, this isn't working out. Let's part ways.
Yeah, never fun. Palomar is something you guys have built, and it looks like it's like your guys's, right?
Yeah.
What's the idea, and what work went into it, and what's the result?
Yeah, so it's kind of an interesting story. Palomar is a suite of tools that we have built to help us do marketing. The goal with Palomar is it allows us to know where to invest resources to have the maximum impact in the shortest amount of time. And so that just helps us turns up the heat on the product that we're creating. So it actually this has been years in development, and we actually just got a patent on that software. So it allows us to do research in the market, find holes and gaps. It goes leaps and bounds towards helping us get those opportunities between advertising and organic growth and take advantage of both and learn from both. So we actually just got the patent for that this January, so that's pretty new. And yeah, we just, it's only for kind of our clients, but I think there's probably plans in the future to open that up.
Cool. And so you guys did some really interesting work and analysis on the President Trump and Joe Biden campaigns. Was that one of the tools you used?
Yep. So we used Palomar to get a lot of that data for that campaign.
Yeah. So for those that haven't seen it, I was scrolling for several swipes of the finger because you guys went through and analyzed most everything of their websites, their apps. And
yeah, just the digital stuff. Yeah. But everything we could find. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And it was funny and also informative, but then also it really illustrated that you've got either a full suite of smart people or some really good technology that's enabling you to do all that.
Both.
Yeah. So as you guys were getting ready to publish it to the world or report your findings, what did you find most interesting?
Oh, there's so many gems in that. If you want to see it, go to getthatvote.com. It was just a fun project. We like to just invest in fun projects just because we are curious. And this one, yeah, we went through both Donald Trump and Joe Biden's campaigns from a digital perspective and analyzed them. And there's so many good nuggets in there. One that I found really interesting is Biden is very focused on swing states in his advertising, and Trump is focused kind of evenly across America. And a lot of people I've talked to say that means that Joe Biden's spending smarter, and I think there's logic behind that. I think what will be interesting to see is what effect does advertising to states that don't normally get that attention have on the swing states. So, Utah, we don't typically get a ton of political attention from ads and things, but what effect does kind of rousing the base in Utah have on voters in Florida? And with social media being what it is today, there is some effect. Whether that justifies not investing as much in swing states, I think remains to be seen. Another interesting nugget that came out of that was the social media diet of people who identify as Republican versus Democrat only overlaps by about 3%. So, I mean, it's something that I think we all knew kind of instinctually, but it was borne out by the data. There's definitely some silos and bubbles happening in terms of what we're consuming, and how could that not lead to some conflict,
Yeah. My guess is it's always kind of been that way with humans, but
Yeah, probably right.
probably will be for a long time. Yeah, I think it's cool that you guys will do fun things, and this is a great example. I'm sure you can monetize it, and it's awesome. But you did the $20 bill thing and the Pixar thing. So just real quick, what were the stories behind those, and what are some fun things you saw?
Yeah, so Pixar theory, if you're not familiar, is this idea that all the Pixar movies are connected somehow, and there's little Easter eggs in each, and the whole idea is that Boo from Monsters, Inc., the little girl, she loves Sully, and she is trying to get back to him. And so the old witch from Brave is Boo. And she's not actually a witch. She's using this door teleportation technology to go through time until she can find Sully. And that little witch, or that witch, has a little carved wooden Sully in her little cave or whatever. And that's whatever. It's kind of fun. So we built a website that breaks down this whole Pixar theory and how it's all connected. And that was just for fun. And we haven't touched it in years. It's way outdated. We need to go update that thing. But it gets like 3 million visits every year. What's the ROI? I don't know. I don't really care. We also invest a lot in our employees' health and wellness. Like these Oura rings, employees get those. It tracks your sleep and your health. We pay for employees to get a full blood panel once a year. We also pay for employees to get a remote doctor, which we've been doing for years, but it's now really helpful in COVID time. And someone asked me, like, what's the ROI on Oura rings? I was like, I don't really know. I know it's there, but I don't really care to measure what specifically the ROI is. Same thing on this presidential campaign. What's the ROI? I don't know. It was just fun. And I think, to me, I'm most interested in the return of teaching my people that it's okay to invest in something just because it's fun, and kind of fostering that creative energy that we really need in our agency to excel.
I'm sure there's a lot of things learned and a lot of stones that looked under and found little nuggets. All right, so there's marketing in 2020, and it's very fast. We were talking before. You like it. You can go into more detail on why you like it, but I thought you might have said like the golden age would have been in the 60s, around the Mad Men time, but 2020 versus your golden age. What are the advantages and what are the disadvantages?
Yeah, so I kind of watched Mad Men. I love that era, and I studied advertising, and so my goal was to work at a big, sexy New York advertising agency. That's what I had in my head. And I married a girl who she wants to go live on a farm and have cows and horses, so it did not mix. So we kind of stayed here in Utah. Found nice 7th floor. Back then we were, I think, 12 employees or so, and I just thought, this is the future, and if I can stay here and turn this into the big, sexy agency I've always wanted to work at. And what I've learned over the past 14 years of doing digital marketing is this is the golden age, and it will get more golden as time's going on. The reason is because it is changing so fast. Like tomorrow, Facebook will come out with something and the whole landscape changes, or Twitter or Instagram. There might be some new social network. Google will change their algorithm. And that disruption for a lot of people is really uncomfortable, which is a boon to us, because the more uncomfortable it gets for others, that means there's bigger and bigger opportunity. Like Quora, who's buying ads right now on Quora? Not a lot of people, which means there's a huge opportunity on Quora. So it's fun, and it's just the Wild West right now. Like, if you can dream it, you can do it.
Yeah. As long as they all don't do it the same day or at night.
Yeah, it can. Don't get me wrong. It gets stressful,
yeah,
for sure. But it's just exciting.
Yeah, yeah. You hope they're not diabolical in forming some sort of monopoly.
We're actually seeing what plays out with these antitrust kind of investigations and lawsuits. That could potentially have a really big impact on our industry.
Yeah.
Apple creating their own search engine. I mean, that would be a game changer if they did that.
Yeah. So you're never going to be short of new platforms, and I mean, who would have thought Pinterest would be a big marketing platform? And yeah, I mean, you can put a logo on a urinal cake. I guess you can market anything, right?
Yeah, my little girl loves Little Mermaid, and I always think, I want to be where the people are. That's what marketing is. Where the people go, we go, and we need to figure out how to talk to them. And they go different places these days, so we have a lot to learn.
Yeah. Well, cool. This has been fun, and we appreciate your guys' support over the years. And so if folks want to kind of see your guys' work, or if they would like to hire you guys, how is the best way to do that?
Yeah, so you can go to 97thfloor.com and just hit the Contact Us button. You can take a look at some case studies some past work that we've done. You can connect with me on LinkedIn. If you just search Paxton Gray, I should be the first one that comes up. You can also send me an email, paxton@97thfloor.com. But yeah, our website would be the best place to go and learn more and get in touch.
All right, thanks, Paxton, and happy Halloween.
Hey, thank you. And thank you for doing this. This is a really cool thing that you guys do for the community.
Yeah, absolutely. Appreciate it. Thanks.